Hey everyone, it's a beautiful morning in Florida today. Nice, cool, dry weather. Good for working on a project. So I've got all the wood that Tyrone and I cut. I've got all the parts. I've got the cabinet here. And it's time to reassemble it. Our big assignment for today is going to be to figure out the lights. So let's get busy. Okay, first step, I glued the rubber pad down to the plywood shelf, and I just used Elmer's wood glue for that. It's fine. I'm gonna put the speaker on top of it to kind of compress it a little bit. For the incline, I'm not gonna stain it. I'm gonna use this hammered cocoa brown paint, which, wow, hold on. Jesus, oh, that one broke as it was coming off. So, again, hammered cocoa brown, as I said. Good to shake it 100 times before you do anything. And yes, I'm not being very careful with this at all because it's mostly covered. But you see, look at that. It kind of has a wood look to it. This is a very interesting type of thing. I'll tell you that. All right, that's done. Okay, this panel is pretty much done. It's glued down. So, to work on the light, we kind of have to flip this thing over. Not kind of have to, we do have to flip it over. So I got to be very careful here. I don't want to scratch that top. Not that it isn't already scratched. It most certainly is. Okay, we got our first good look at what we've got to work with here. So we've got to put lights on either side of this. How thick is this? Not very. Alright, let me think about this for a minute, how best to do it. I didn't realize this was there, or actually that piece, so I may only need to put two sides. And there's a little support here. If I put a little screw in at each of the four corners, I could actually wrap those, the fairy lights, the strings, around it. Okay, let me think about it. Maybe too tall. It's a little too tall. Good size, but I'll probably cut it down some. All right, so I cut these two pieces. They conveniently fit right there. And I'll have to put a couple of screw holes. There's small screw holes in here. And right there. And we'll be able to make the mount for it. And I'll glue these two pieces in. And then I need sides. But before I do it, okay, I've got a board under this, just so I don't put holes in my bench. All right. Yeah. 4 holes drilled. Okay. So you can see the holes on the blocks. Now we just got to put holes in here, and we can drill this thing down and hold it. I think probably the wood blocks, I'll glue those in. I don't want to. That's only 1/4 inch thick. I don't want to try to screw anything into that. I'll go right through it. But before I do that, I still got to figure out the lights. I got an idea. Maybe if I put a screw in each side of these, I can wrap the string lights around that. Yeah, I think that'll actually work. We're getting a little later in the morning. The sun is now moving over, so we're not in the shade anymore. It's starting to get hot. But that's Florida. All right. I'll put the holes in that. Let's see, maybe I can recycle these screws I just took off the cabinet. Yep. So if we wrap the string lights around those posts, they should stay in place. I can always put a little adhesive around it. Okay, I'm going to wrap the string lights around. 9 feet should be plenty to go around that. And then they'll just plug right in there, USB. Thing is, I don't know if I should glue those posts down first, or these string lights can get kind of out of hand easy. But okay, let's glue the posts down. So then at least those won't move. Let me take care of that. Just going to use regular wood glue. So it's just Elmer's wood glue. And I know there's a lot more fancy things on the market than that, but it works. And it works well. And I got these posts that make good points to glue on. I'm using the brush, one, because I'm running very low on this wood glue, but two, because it'll get me right where I need to be. Just gotta let that sit for a bit. Put that in there to kind of keep it where I need it to be. All right, but that's it, and we'll be back after that has a chance to kind of dry for a bit. Okay, forgot to turn the camera on, but I am in the process of wrapping the string lights around the outside of the dial. So as I come around, hard to do this with two hands. Let's see if I can do it with one. Kind of looping around the screw. You can see that I'm looping around the screw and then I'm going back over. Hopefully I didn't break anything. Red lights. Hopefully that's enough light for the dial. Should be. We'll see. Hi, Muggsy. All right. The next step is to put the dial itself and mount it to these two boards, which are sketchy that they're going to hold without screws, but we'll see. All right, next, I've got these. I'm not going to use the other pieces that I had made. These are going to go right in here, right up against that to kind of, not really reflect the light, but just kind of box the light in. That's where those are going to go. Oops, I don't want to be on top of this stuff at all. A little tricky doing this all without being able to see what the end result is really going to look like from up top, but I'm thinking it's going to be okay. Oh, actually, yeah, we're good. It's not going anywhere. So, lights still working? Yep. Lights still work. Hopefully it lights up the dial enough. You seal up the glue. And I guess we're pretty much ready to turn this thing over. All right, let's let these other pieces dry, and I'm going to give it a little while. I'm going to take a break, give it a little bit, and we'll be back. Okay, dial's all in, it's all dry. Let's flip this guy over. I suppose I should have attached that down beforehand, but let's flip it over and see what the dial looks like. Oh, looks good. I think I've got the panel lower than it was before. You can see the shadows, but in a house you won't really see that. But I don't see any sign of the lights, so we'll see what it looks like when it gets dark out, and we can turn it on and see. I suppose I should have kind of hollowed those out. They're going to be in the way of the knobs, but I can figure that out. trying to figure out what to do with this. Are we gonna do lights? You know, we do have a lip. At least here and here we've got a lip to hide a light strip. So I guess that's probably next. Let's get to it. I moved into the shade, into the carport. It's getting hot. So what I'm doing is I'm going to put a couple of screws, that's it, just 2 screws to hold this down. So while I'm drilling them, just to be careful because it's very old wood and I don't want to split it, is I'm using a very small drill to make a pilot hole. I'm going to size up, which is what the screw will need. Very quickly, I'm using a big bit just to countersink a little bit. You got to be careful with this because it's going to dig right in. Like that. Exactly what I said, be careful with. It's not going anywhere. So the speakers can now be put in. Got the wires here. I should have marked which one's left, right. I don't remember anymore. All right, the strip light. So the strip light can be cut. Let's talk about that. I said I was going to do that next, but I got distracted when I moved. So the strip light can be cut. There is a lip in the radio that goes from here to here, and it will disguise this, but that means I have to come in here. Just go up and come across. If we had built the shelf all the way across and not left the pocket, it'd be a little easier. Now I could come up here and just go over here and here, but I don't want to do that. So I am going to put a very small hole there. This does not require a lot. In fact, even this bit is likely far larger than I need. So let me do what I was doing and see if I can put a pilot hole in first. This bit's short. I got a longer bit. I wish I had a set of these longer bits. They come in very handy for things like this. I cut this piece. I was able to get the lights through that hole in the radio, and I cut this piece to kind of cover it up. Just a piece of corner trim that I had a few inches of. So let's see. I've been tweaking it. Excuse me, Nacho. So the plan is that this cable will come up through here. I know I put a nasty hole in it. And then this piece, the cable will tuck in like that. A little tighter, of course. I'll push the cable down. Oh, no. Don't go playing with that. Thank you, Nacho. Yeah, so I'm gonna paint this piece because I'm too lazy to stain it. But I think that's gonna hide it, and then this will run right up. And we'll have some general interior lighting. And yes, I know this is very lazy of me to not stain it, but this radio has already gone way beyond what I really thought it was gonna be. All right, so I'm hoping that I don't snap this piece inside off. What I'm gonna try to do is very lightly make a countersink hole for the knobs. Because they almost fit. The drill bit is not dull. I'm just not going in very far or applying any pressure because I don't want to push that piece out. I glue in. Oh, no. Well, ironically, this is the bad knob anyway, so knew exactly what to do. Right. Yep. Okay. Now I should be able to just glue these guys right to that board, and we're golden with the knobs. Next step. We're almost done. Really, this is the last step, and I want to wait for that piece to dry. It shouldn't take long. And then it's okay. We got to jigsaw that speaker hole. All right, let's do that. Let's take care of that. There's a good place I can get out a jigsaw and run that. Okay, so I want to cut this hole wider. So I've got an ancient jigsaw somewhere. Let me go find it. Okay, here is my estate sale skill jigsaw. And you know, now that I think about it, I could have done this with a Sawzall. It would have been just as quick. Oh, you know, let's just be smart about this. I'm getting covered with sawdust, so I may as well put on some eye protection. Yep, I'll be doing some gluing. For sure. You just can't rely on 75-year-old plywood anymore. Actually, I'm thinking the only part I really need to glue is this, because I've got this whole surface is flat, and the glue cloth will go around here. I really should have cut this open, but I'm worried to cut it any further than I did. I wanted to cut They're much bigger, but this piece of wood is no good for that. All right, rumor has it that you can cut these LED strips. They say you can cut where there's cut lines. Are these cut lines? Maybe. Let's hope it still works after I cut it, because we will be cutting it. I've got that piece in. I'm just gonna get the tape off. All right, I tried peeling the tape off from that end, which would have made more sense, but it was just pulling all the glue off. So we're gonna have to do this kind of a crazy way. I'm gonna have to take the backing completely off. And then work our way down. Trying to avoid it sticking to everything. The good news is the glue does appear to work. It's sticky for sure. Now, where to cut? Looks like that guy. Let's hope it will still work when I cut along the cut line. What I'm doing here is I just want to paint along the edges of this. So I masked up. Hopefully I masked up enough. I did not mask up the entire thing, but I'm painting down. I just want to cover that so it doesn't look so bright. You can see it in there. Okay. Well, hell, I might as well just do the rest of it since I did so much already. I want to put this thing in, and I'm debating the best place for it. So that makes me think it's about here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mask off this area because the hole saw couldn't rip up the laminate, and I don't want it to rip it up too far, so I'm going to mask up that whole area. Okay, so I've got it masked off, and the point of masking it is so that when I put the hole saw through, it hopefully won't tear up too much of the laminate. But so here's the hole saw. This will go through first and kind of hold the saw in place, I hope. All right, the good news is the laminate's good. It's in. Yeah, and a little crooked. It seems hard to get it, so it's not crooked at all, but looks good. The shelf can now go wherever I want it, around there. I can't believe that thing is a little bit crooked. There we go. All right, I gotta kind of glue this thing together, and then decide if I want to screw it in or just use some type of felt pad on it to hold it in place. I think this thing's probably cool enough to the touch now. Wow, it is still actually warm. Wow. I'll be paying for that later. Just put some weight down on that. Perfect. All right, let's put this thing on. Okay, we're about buttoned up. I think we're, other than how to mount this piece here properly, we're done. Before I get the grill cloth, and I gotta figure out about the chip there, that chip at the bottom still. I may see if I have some ebony stain and try. It's dark enough for me to see what it's going to look like when you turn it on. Let's see. Well, the dial definitely lights up. And the radio lights up well too. You want to just see the dial. Go. So this is the stand that the iPad will lay on, and what I decided was I'd put a couple of bumpers here to keep the iPad up in case of like the charging is placed in the bottom of it. And this is optional, of course, but so what I found was in my box of parts, I found these two old radio knobs. And I thought they'd make perfect bumpers. So I'm going to give it a shot. I've marked off where to put the holes. Hopefully these screws will work. I don't really know. I don't have the right screws for these, and they're kind of odd. I'm kind of thinking that weird, I tested it, will tighten up. Tightens up, not quite enough. Let's try the other one, see how the other one does. So now, got a couple of bumpers. Actually look like radio knobs. How cool is that? So, last step, I'm still waiting for the grill cloth to arrive. When that arrives, we'll move. That's where we're at for right now. The grill cloth has finally arrived. Looks good. It's odd material. It's kind of plastic, almost. Certainly not what they would have used. So it's a bit unruly. I'm gonna have to double it up. It's not very thick. It's a bit unruly. So it wants to keep rolling back up. So for simplicity's sake, I'm going to take advantage of the 90-degree weather and leave it out in the sun, let it flatten out into the shape I need it to be in. Got my partner here. This is all flattened out now. So true. Arrow, this is down. This stuff does actually have an up and down. The lines go this way, so you definitely want to follow that. So what I need to do is I'm just going to staple it down and then glue it, and then the bolt screws will hold it tight. It's a very old stapler, and I've never actually reloaded staples in it before. See how it works like that. These are actually very old staples as well. More estate sale finds. Right, Nacho? Incidentally though, I think this is going to look good. This material is plastic. It's not actually cotton or fat. I don't know what it is, but it feels like plastic. Well, that's all I needed to do out here, guys. We are indoors now, out of the 92-degree sun. And we're gonna find the screw holes for this. This, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. I'm going to be using the original holes. It's be a little difficult to see where they are. But once I get two in, it should be a lot easier. Anyway, no need to bore you with all this while I put the grill cloth in. I'll be back. Okay, grill cloth's in, bottom plate's in and bolted. Let's take our first look. I actually haven't walked around it yet. Oh, looks good. You can still see some light coming through it. Let me move this thing into about where the position is going to be, and then I'll put the speakers in and wire them because it gets heavy when you do that, and I'll put the back plate on. So hold on, I'll be right back. All right, starting to get exciting. We're getting close. Again, white, the wire with the white stripe is positive. Power wire out of the way. Let's do a quick tie up of all the other wires. Back panel. Outlet back here. I'm just going to plug this thing in. Okay, let's move it into place. I've got it on a towel. I never move anything across the floor without it being on a towel until I get it very, very close to where it's going to go. Okay. Give you the bird's eye view. It's open. Punch back there. She's lit. Oh, I gotta clean that dust out. There's a lot of dust still inside. But you can see, dial's lit. It's essentially it. I'd play music on it, but I'd probably get in trouble with YouTube. But I may do that later. I've got some music that I have licensed to. There you go. I know it's not as thrilling when you can't hear it. Okay, this big chip down here, I'm gonna actually use some poly shades, pretty dark. color too. I mean, this isn't really light scratches. This is actually a broken piece, which I will eventually fill. But if I want to disguise it real quick, I just have to get rid of the bare wood. And you know, it's not like this is a particularly valuable cabinet. It'll take more than one coat, it looks like. It's a pretty big scratch there. So for this little demo, I'm going to use this Howard's Restore Finish. I'm going to show you on the lid of this, which is the finishes. Yeah, you can see it. I got a little light source here so you can really see how well this stuff works. So you can see that. All right, let me put a glove on for this, but I want to definitely show you how quick and easy this is, and I'll be going over this entire radio with this stuff. You can see I've used this rag many times for this purpose. So there you have scratches. And there they go. Here is a good before and after of this. Scratches everywhere, chips, scratches, gone. Right. I'm gonna do this whole cabinet with this stuff. Seems like I gotta do something about the feet. As I recall, I think I noticed one of the metal feet was missing under this. Okay. And that's it. I mean, you just rub it on and it dries pretty quick. It doesn't have a particularly bad smell, to me anyway. I've been using it for so long, it reminds me of, 25 years ago. It can also be used, which I do quite often, is to just remove dust on old furniture. Furniture polish is terrible. It's terrible. Most of it's just terrible. But this stuff isn't. All this really isn't, in my opinion. This is like the old school days before I discovered this, where I would just soak a rag in stain, Minwax or something like that, and I would just go over. Stay away from your grill cloth that I just put on, and I'd just go over everything with it, and it would do the same thing. It would fill the scratches and all that. But somehow this stuff just seems to work better at it. I don't know what it is, but it does seem to work better. It adds a nice gloss to it as well. All right, let's go inside. Yeah, see how dusty that is? It's not just dust. A lot of it is. See, a little nice that comes out. Better than using furniture polish for sure. Sometimes you gotta get in a little tighter than I'm doing right now, but I'm doing it one-handed and trying to get it out of the way. I gotta fix the missing rubber foot. Or missing metal. This has metal feet on it, which kind of a strange setup. So yeah, if you see old furniture and you're like, oh, that's got a couple scratches on it, and, hey, as I say, don't be intimidated. Just get yourself a can of this Howard's Finish Restore and get busy. Take you 5 minutes. And people will be like, oh, look at that. That's a nice top. Look at how nice that finishes. It's true. All right, here's a couple challenging ones. These guys are challenging. Let's see how well this does. This is something that I think normally I would rub actual stain in. They're all the way through there. They're wide, but let's see. Well, certainly better. Most certainly better than it looked. And now, I mean, now it's not like people aren't going to notice that, those scratches. And here's some deep ones here. Let's try it. Yep, look at how nice that works. Put some over here. Now, this box where all the record albums went probably got quite a few scratches on it. All right, let's get some stuff out. Take out my makeshift iPad shelf. And I'm gonna clear up a lot of this dust. Look at all the dust. Get rid of the stains, the gunk that's on it. I suppose you notice, see the felt pads I put in there. So the iPad shelf doesn't actually scratch anything. Okay, now let's just get in this box here. It's very dusty in there. Let's get in where people might see. Here. Now, look at how nice that looks. Let's do the side. Not that I think anybody's going to see this side, but let's just do it anyway, because we're here. Our iPad shelf could use a little cleanup. It's an old piece of furniture that Tyrone had. We'll just wipe it down with what's left on the rag. I love my little radio knobs. Hold the iPad up. I suppose I should get an iPad and show you how that shelf's going to work and why I put this cable in. So I'll be back in a minute. So the shelf with the cool knobs, you put your tablet or whatever right there. And so this cable is if you don't want to actually use Bluetooth, you can plug directly in, and then you're good to go. How cool is that? So you get your own jukebox right there. So you've got your iPad hooked up and you just want to play. Maybe you're talking on the phone or something, you just want to play, you just boop. Demo of it actually playing. Sounds amazing. Very, very heavy bass. Okay, I don't want YouTube to get upset with me, but there you have it. So we brought a 1946 Bendix radio phonograph console from basically side of the road trash heap to being a beautiful and functioning piece of furniture. How cool is that? Love it. I love doing projects like this. So If you want to take on something like this, you know, as I always say, don't be intimidated. It doesn't have to be this type of radio. It can be almost anything. You can turn it into your own zombie radio build and use your own speakers. You know, I kept the budget on this below $200. Between the speakers were only $50, the amp was $35, the grill cloth I think was $25 to $30, and then just hardware and a couple of pieces of scrap wood and some power adapters and the power strip, but easily below $200. And I mean, look at that. I mean, how cool is that? That's amazing. It's a beautiful piece of furniture that can function as an awesome music player. You could use it, you could run your TV into it if you want. I mean, the sky's the limit. If it's a phonograph version as opposed to just a floor radio, you've got room to put a full home theater amplifier in there. So, you know, sky's the limit. If you want to take on a project like this, don't be intimidated. Just go out, get busy. Take care. Nacho, don't do that. No, that's not, look at that, you're ruining my rubber. Come on. You're in jail, Nacho, because you're bad. No, I said don't do that. Get out.